Yep. So I'll start with injuries. Nick Chubb has an MCL injury. We'll be putting him on IR. It'll be a several-week injury, but we do expect him back this year. Knowing Nick, he's going to work very hard in rehab, and so I know that's hard to see your teammate go down like that, but knowing Nick, he will work his butt off to get back. Larry has an oblique injury. We'll see how that goes throughout this week. And then Cordero Hodge has a hamstring, and that is really week to week, and we shall see on that one. Just recapping again, yesterday, a good team win. The guys are playing very, very hard. I think that shows up on tape. They're really straining to finish. And then I think you can start it and end it right there at +3 in the turnover margin. It's such a big deal in terms of winning and losing. But I will take any questions.
Thank you, Coach. The first question will go to Jake Trotter. Jake, go ahead. Let me hear.
Yeah, Kevin, any more context on, you said several weeks. Is that, potentially a month?
Honestly, Jake, I think we got to see how it goes. With Nick Chubb, I hesitate to put a number of weeks on it. I don't know, but it'll be several weeks.
Next one will go to Fred Greetham.
Hey, Coach, is it safe for the offensive line and the scheme that you can plug and play, and with the depth at running back, a D'Ernest Johnson, Dontrell Hilliard plug in, hadn't really played, and go for about 120 yards between them?
I mean, that was good to see, Fred, with those guys stepping up. Like you mentioned, the offensive line and the tight ends and the wide receivers, they're all straining. And the runners were, running through arm tackles and breaking tackles. So that was good to see. But you lose a player of Nick's caliber. We're going to need those guys to step up really across the entire offense.
EJ Ziegler, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, I know game planning plays a big part in how you guys go out and perform each and every Sunday, especially on the offensive side of the football. But what is the key to the offense being as successful as it is every Sunday, despite whoever the opponent is?
Yeah, PJ, I think it's still a work in progress. I think, we're in year one of systems on the offensive and defensive side. So as we speak, the coaches are in meetings with the players, and there are plenty of things to clean up. It was a productive day for the offense, obviously, but there's yards that we're leaving out in the field, and we have to do better. We have to improve throughout the season.
Tom Withers, you'll have our next question.
Thank you, Rob. Kevin, I'd like to switch over to the other side of the ball. On the defensive side, what needs to be cleaned up? I know, they ran up like 566 or whatever it was. What's first order of business over there?
Yeah, there's some things we can do better, Tom. It's always it always goes back to alignment, assignment, and technique. And there's things I know the guys can clean up, and the coaches are going to work hard on that with them. You get in that game, and you're going to have to apply pressure to the quarterback. You're going to have to find a way to get off. And just late in that fourth quarter, we couldn't find a way to get off. But I got to tell you, those guys are straining. I mean, they are flying around the field. Guys are giving us great effort. And we got our hands on a few balls that we didn't come down with. That's part of it. And I understand that I'm being greedy because it got us 3, but we got to make sure that we're really trying everything we can to get our hands on the ball and secure those interceptions.
Sendayo was one of those players who had his hands on one. I think it went right through. How would you assess his play so far, Kevin? He said there's been some plays where it seems like he's been either out of position, and obviously he's made some big ones up, the strip on Ezekiel, et cetera. But how would you assess his play overall?
Playing hard. He's making plays on the ball. He's punched that ball out of the runner there yesterday. He can clean things up just like the whole lot of guys, honestly. And that's really the message to our offense and our defense and our special teams is let's find ways to get better today in these meetings.
Yeah, Patrick, you have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, I got a couple quick injury things for you. Will Nick have to have surgery?
No.
Okay. And how did Kareem come through the game with that groin?
He came through pretty good. That dude's a warrior. I love watching that guy play. To make it to that game and then perform how he did, team player all the way. Really, really proud of him.
And last one, Sheldon walked off late in the game. Is he okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Nate Orrick, we'll go to you.
Kevin, one other injury thing, and then I got another question. Are you guys going to get David Njoku back this week?
I think we will. Yes.
Okay. And just in terms of with Nick going out and what we saw happen when DeAndre got his opportunity and Dontrell got some of some opportunities behind him. Just how much confidence do you have that you guys are going to be able to keep running the ball the way you want to, even though Nick Chubb, as good as he is going to be out for a while?
Yeah, like you said, Nick's tough to replace, obviously. But we got to just make sure we put a game plan together today and tomorrow with the coaches, and then find a way to move the rock any which way we can. And I trust that we'll put that plan together, and I trust that guys will step up when they're called upon.
Jake Trotter, your line's open.
Yeah, Kevin, kind of along those lines. I mean, you guys are running the ball at historically effective and efficient levels through the first 4 games. Could you specifically go through what you attribute to the offensive line seems like it's playing great, and then just the other guys you have in the backfield and what they can do, so as you did Sunday, you guys don't miss that much of a beat going forward in the running game that's been so good for you?
Yeah, I mean, first you got to start with the players, and it takes 11 guys. So I think it's easy to start with the runners who are doing an outstanding job. But you got to look at the entire offense, and you got to look at the offensive line knocking guys off the ball and utilizing the correct technique, going to the right people. The tight ends are a huge focal point of what we're doing. The wide receivers are blocking on the perimeter, and then the quarterback's getting us in the correct play. He's carrying out fakes. So it really takes 11 guys to make a run game go. And then, like I mentioned to you guys yesterday, I give credit to the coaches. I think Coach Callahan and the offensive staff continue to put together strong plans. And so it's a group effort.
Scott Petrick, we'll go back to you.
Kevin, how important is it to get Odell involved early? I mean, I know it looked like maybe you can go out of your way, but it was a focus yesterday. Do you think that's important to do?
Yeah, I think he's a really good football player, so it makes sense to me to get him involved early and often. Hasn't happened there in a few of those ball games, and there's always varying reasons for that, but he's a major part of our attack, and we got to make sure that we're utilizing him as best we can.
And on that end around that went for the touchdown, do you consider that a risky play call when it looks like you could have lost 14 yards if something went the wrong way?
Yeah, I mean, the risk in thinking about the result of these plays, it's really, I try to just think about the process of what got us there, because you're right, if he gets tackled, it's a dumb call. What am I thinking? So at the end of the day, I trust our guys, I trust the players, and that's really where my focus goes.
Thanks.
Jeff Shadell, we'll go back to you.
Hey, Kevin, is it difficult to get wide receivers to buy into blocking downfield? Because I've seen games when, not with you coaching, but when that really doesn't happen.
I think the guys understand that they're a huge part of our success, and they get that when we are throwing it, those running backs and those tight ends and the line are blocking for the quarterback and giving them time to get the ball to them. So it goes hand in hand in terms of being a good offense. You gotta do your job so someone else can have success.
Nate Orrick, you're up.
Kevin, I know obviously losing Nick Chubb for a little while isn't great news, but is there any relief that it wasn't ACL? And then secondly, have you talked to Nick now that you guys kind of know what you're facing, and then what is he kind of expressing to you?
Well, yes, I'd say there's always relief when it's not a season-ending injury. You never like to see your players on the ground like that. And again, Nick doesn't say much, as you guys know, but he is a leader of this football team. His teammates really respond to him and the way he goes about his business. So he's disappointed, but I can promise you he's going to attack this rehab.
Thanks, Nate. We'll go to Marla Ridenour.
Yeah, Coach, I don't know how much you know about DeAndre Johnson's story, but, the fact that he was on a fishing boat in 2018, I mean, just what impresses you about him? Is it more his work ethic, or is there something about his running style that stands out?
He does a nice job, Marla. I mean, from the moment I got here and watching how he prepares and how he goes about his business, he grinds on this thing. I think Stubb does a great job with that running back room and really holds all those guys accountable. And he makes sure they're ready to play. And you saw that DeAndre was standing at the ready.
Okay, thank you.
Tom Withers, you're up.
Yeah, Coach, back to Scott's question for a second. How much did it help you guys to get that field position on the Cowboys' decision to kind of squib it there? Did that affect your play calling there on the end round?
Yeah, a little bit. Probably wouldn't have done that very far backed up. But so, yeah, it did affect it.
And then, and I apologize, I was in the other Zoom room yesterday on the ball that Donovan let go on the deep kick. What was going on there?
I don't know. I was running down the sideline. So he needs to make sure he makes great decisions there. And he did a nice job yesterday for us, and he's going to continue to do a nice job for us. But that is one that I would like him to make sure is going in the end zone for him to be like that.
And the Cowboys had a similar situation earlier in the game, Kevin. Is it different in the NFL and college as to whether you tell the back judge or whoever that it's a touchback or letting the ball go? Is that different?
I don't know the rules in college.
Okay.
That was a very unusual play that happened on their kickoff return, and our guys stopped playing because of the signal he gave. So that was unique, and we're going to make a phone call to see exactly how they want that officiated.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Next up is going to be Tony Grossi.
Hey, Kevin. What a weird game. I mean, 49 points, and the quarterback threw for 165. He had 300 yards rushing and nobody over 100, no 100-yard receiving game. And it seemed like the two biggest plays were, the pass from Landry to Beckham and then the Beckham reverse out of the quarterback's hands. Was that a quirky game, or was that the template of what you want to see? I know you're not going to get 49 points all the time, but to get the ball into Beckham and Landry's hands and other means than conventional?
Well, I think, Tony, every game we kind of go into it thinking about how we get the ball in our guys' hands. And you mentioned Jarvis. Jarvis had 5 catches, 4 for first downs. So those guys are making plays for us. We have to work real hard as an offensive staff to make sure that we are finding creative ways to get it to them, because they're really good players. And I'd mentioned the tight ends too. They made some big catches. So yeah, I think unique when you mention those things and the statistics, but I also think there were a ton of plays that were moving the chains, and we'll take it any which way we can get it.
Thanks, Tony. We'll go to Scott Patrick.
Hey, Kevin, we asked you about Denzel's interception yesterday, but overall, I think he was out there every snap. How do you think he played, and what's he shown you kind of fighting through this groin the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job yesterday. Again, they threw it over 50 times, so they're going to make a few plays. But for him to fight through the injuries that he's been fighting through, to answer the bell and then play the way he's playing and make that play at the end there to seal the game, I thought was outstanding.
Thanks.
Mary Kay Cabot, your line is open.
Yeah, Coach, the only reason why I'm asking you this, since it's a report, is because it's coming from NFL Network. But I'm seeing here that NFL Network is saying that Chubb is expected to miss 6 weeks with his MCL sprain and that he could return in November. Since it's NFL Network, I mean, can you kind of tell us if that is in the ballpark, or do you know?
I really don't know. I don't. I can't speak to NFL Network, but I can speak to Cleveland Browns. And, I'm just telling you, injury-wise, we're looking at several weeks. What that ends up being, I don't know. I know Nick Chubb, so I really wouldn't put a time frame on it just yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Jeff Shadell.
Hey, who got game balls from you yesterday, Kevin?
I think we're going to leave the game balls internal, Jeff. Okay. But I will tell you, it was a group effort on all sides. And I thought there was winning effort throughout the game. And again, I just go back to, you watch the tape, guys are playing hard, guys are straining, and that's the type of style we're looking to play.
PJ Ziegler, you're up.
Kevin, you guys have been very efficient in the red zone this year. I know it's only been 4 games. What has been the key to the success of punching it in when you getting in the red zone?
Yeah, the red zone, sometimes that comes and goes, and right now it's going for us, and we got to make sure we keep going. Been able to run it pretty effectively down there. Threw it in there a couple times yesterday, so it really becomes about attacking the defense and whatever their defensive style calls for in each given week. But really proud of the guys when they get down there, making sure it's 7s and not 3s.
We'll go back to Tony Grossi.
Kevin, you had 4 running backs active yesterday. Was that because of Hunt's uncertainty? And in addition to that, do you need to add a running back during Chubb's absence?
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out here, Tony, the next week. But I'd say it was maybe a combination of Kareem's coming off that injury. But I also, point out that both those guys, Dontrell and DeAndre, do a great job on special teams. So that's a big part of it as well.
Pat Patrick.
Kevin, I know you guys have been vigilant regarding the virus, but I was just wondering, have you guys changed anything, gone more remotely, just given what's going on with, around the league?
Yeah, we're following those protocols to a T. We've probably met a little bit more virtually as a coaching staff with the recent news, but we're just going to do everything we can to be safe, keep our players safe, keep our staff safe. We're just going to keep following those protocols.